Lionel Nelson here, and welcome to A Father's Note, promoting fathers through building men. I had asked you a question, and the question I asked you was, what was your greatest challenge so far in life? And you responded was, you thought a little while, you thought a little bit, and then you responded, you said that just learning to be me. And that really struck me as to why would you say that? Can you expound on that? What do you mean by that?
I had to learn to be comfortable in my own skin because I grew up in a predominantly white area with going to school with predominantly white kids. So there was a lot of, I would say, bullying going on or stuff like that. So I had to actually learn to love myself as I got older and came to college and stuff like that, and surrounding myself with people like me and struggling through the same thing, but allowing older men that went through what I went through to speak into my life and come over those insecurities.
So what were some of the insecurities?
I would say the way I talk, because normal, I used to get bullied for the way I talked and stuff like that, because I didn't talk how they expected me to talk. They said I talked too proper or stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And so you had to get used to accepting the fact, hey, listen, this is just the way, I communicate, right? So what else did you have to learn about yourself?
I had to learn what I like. So all these hobbies, I recently came into them these past few years. Because usually, or in high school, I was trying to be with I was in college prep kind of coursework type stuff. So we didn't really have time to explore the type of activities we like, because we were just focusing on getting into college. So when I got into college, I was able to see, I like cooking, I like playing basketball and stuff like that. And that's things that I've learned.
Let's go back to something you said though, because you said that your father at an early age began to instill in you the principles, the necessities of being a man. So was it the fact that even once you became of age and you were old enough to think on your own, is it the fact that, or the possibility, you still didn't fully understand who you were as a man, who you was as a man?
Yeah, I agree.
So what did you know? Let me ask you this then. What did you know for sure that this was absolute, without a shadow of doubt? I know that this is how and what I needed as far as to be a man, in order to have that structure as a man. When did you absolutely knew that?
When I started living on my own and I had to realize, okay, I can't rely on somebody else to feed me, can't rely on somebody else to clean up, can't rely on myself to make sure I'm at work on time, and that I'm making enough money to support myself.
Wow. So in essence, yes, I heard what Daddy said. I heard what my father said. Be a man, be a man, be a man, be a man, be a man. And he's been constantly instilling in me, even if I didn't agree with a lot of things that he said. But as long as I was in the home, I guess you could say you didn't really have to apply those standards of being a man until you got out on your own.
Yes, I agree. Because I would say those conversations usually came up when I would do my chores, but I wouldn't do them all the way to the completion of them, because I wanted to go outside and just hurry up and finish the chores. But he was like, oh, pay attention to detail. You gotta make sure you get all this done right, stuff like that, and not overlook. And stuff, yeah.
So would you say that Now, though, you're beginning to see the importance of what he had been striving to instill in you as a young man?
Yeah, I can see the importance because it even goes down to the coursework that I'm learning. You have to, so I'm in psychology. I'm gonna be working with people, so I have to observe them and I have to literally pay attention to details in order to help that person with, like, say, their disorders or mental issues.
You have a brother, Christopher.
Yeah.
What's the age difference between you two?
About a year and a half.
You have conversations with him about, have you two discuss your upbringing? And, you know, hey, this is how dad is. This is what fathers want, blah, blah, blah. What has that conversation been like? Does he feel the same as you?
Yeah, he does feel the same way. But with him, and I agree with him on an extent, we do believe he was a little hard on us. So it's like he's the type to like stay away and like keep his distance. Doesn't really go home often.
Your brother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna respond to that because, to tell you the truth, Malik, I can honestly relate to what you're saying, because my father, he was very stern as well, and what I had learned when I became a father, what I had learned was the fact that now that I'm a father, yes, I can be stern on my son, and I want my son to do this. I want him to do A. I want him to do B. I want him to do C. But at the same time, though, in order for me to build a relationship with him, I need to, I'm going to say it this way, come to where he's at. And what I mean by that, okay, what are you interested in? And that's because in order for you, I'm going to go here and say this, in order for you to fully respect me as your father, I have to fully respect you as your son. Because in essence, in order for me to understand how you think, I have to communicate with you. I need to be able to sit down and have that dialogue with you, where it's that, you know what, and not feel threatened by just the fact that just because you as my son may disagree with what I'm saying to you. And if you disagree, then if my son disagrees with what I'm saying to me, then what I'm saying to him is this, okay, then what is it that, or why do you disagree? What's the purpose behind you disagreeing? And in doing that, we can dialogue, because guess what? Even as a son, I mean, even as a father myself, you know what? He's still an individual. I have 3 sons. They are still individuals, regardless. And of course, they're going to think differently. But it's my responsibility to, again, give them that freedom where they can express themselves. And maybe that might have a lot to do with you, because as long as you were in your father's home, and this is no disrespect to him, because at the end of the day, guess what? He was there. He was there and he did his responsibilities. And I commend him for that. So Mr. Tate, I commend you for you being in Malik's life, and not only Malik's life, in your son's life, period. But in order to have, though, the relationship, because when my first son, man, I was hard on him. I disciplined him for everything until I realized, you know what? I don't have to discipline him for everything, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to make him hard. He's going to rebel. Okay, and then we're not going to be able to communicate, have any dialogue, anything, because every time I come around, he's going to shut down. And it's a possibility that's why, or may have been, I'm not saying, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that when you got on your own, it was hard for you to communicate, because guess what? You wasn't used to expressing yourself when you're at home. And now that you have to express yourself, now that you're on your own, you have to speak up for yourself. Maybe you take your time and give it thought to make sure you do it right, because I think there's a possibility even as you, whatever you was going to say at home, you wanted to make sure you did say it respectfully away from home. What's your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. Like, I would say for me, like, I'm the oldest, so yeah, I was the one that was all the responsibility was on me. All the chores needed to be done when he got home. If it wasn't, it was my head that was on the block. So like, yeah, I could see even now in my life when conflict arises, I do shut down because it's like I just be in my head and I just got all these thoughts, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how to express it in a way, so I have to go take time to myself before I say something instead of saying it out of like malicious intent.